Hi submarine friends, welcome back to watching me build my diesel electric submarine. I hope there's not too much background noise. It's really hot in here, so I've got my fan blowing through here. I'll turn it off shortly. But anyways, today is some more wiring and a bit of show and tell. I got some neat parts here. I'm going to turn this fan off. Hold on. Okay, so lights. I'm installing or wiring up the lights today. I'm not installing them. So first of all, these two guys right here, these two guys are 10,000 lumen LED lights. And what I do, I make these myself. I have a video on how to do it if anybody wants one. So what they are is they're a off-road LED light bar, 10,000 lumen each. And what I do is I take the circuit board with the LEDs out, just slides out, and doesn't slide out, it pops out, whatever. And I slide it into this vinyl tube, this 2-inch clear vinyl tube. And then I make end caps out of plastic. I machine them to fit perfectly. Then I make through hull penetrators to get the electricity through, and like through the plastic end caps, and then I fill them with oil. And I've tested these to 3,000 feet deep in my pressure chamber, and they're fine. In fact, I've got one of these lights on a submarine in Tenerife that's rated for 7,500 feet, and that light lives to that depth, so it's amazing. But anyway, it's because it's oil filled. And I fill it with vegetable oil, so if there's ever a failure, it's just vegetable oil leaking into the lake, which won't hurt anything. Then there's this light. I don't know how I'm going to use it. I was thinking about having it on a pole behind the sail of the submarine, so it's like a big test tube. But believe it or not, you won't believe this. This thing here has stamped right on it. It's made by Benthos. And I bought it on eBay. I bought a couple of these. And it is tested to 12,000 meters of depth. That's full ocean depth. There's nowhere on Earth deeper than 12,000 meters. Isn't that incredible? That's just mind-blowing. So what I did, when I got it, it had this weird light thing in it with all this, capacitors and all this weird stuff. I think it's from the 70s. So I just put a LED headlight bulb in it. And it is bright as hell. I tested it yesterday. It draws 3.5 amps. So it's super bright. I suppose if I put a flasher on it, you would really see the submarine at night with this thing on top flashing. Anyways, got to think about that. So what I'm doing today is I am wiring in the scrubber, and I've got a high use plug connector here. So the way that works is, I don't know if you can see that. That just plugs in like that. So then I can just unplug the scrubber when I want to fill it or swap out the absorbent, whatever. So yesterday, after I installed this bilge pump, I installed the rear bilge pump, got it all plumbed in, and there's a pipe right here. You can't see it, but trust me, there's a pipe right here threaded on the end for a T. And so it can just go right into this hose that goes out the top. So I did decide I'm going to use the same switch. And the reason for that is I was worried about wanting to use both pumps at the same time if I have a whole bunch of water to get rid of. Well, this pipe won't handle that water volume. I can't push that much water through it. It'll just be fighting itself. So it's going to be either or. So that's my logic. So the cable is already connected at the back. I just have to connect it at this end. And then what this does is it gives me a bunch of spare wires going to the back. So anything I want to add into the back, I still have to power up the fan for the air coming in from outside that's on the snorkel. So what I'll do is I'll use some of these wires that are already in the back to jump over to that fan. I really like this cable with with 7 conductors in it. That's really super helpful. So I hooked up the red and the black for that pump in the back. So I'm just going to hook those 2 up first, and then we'll get on to the lights next. I wanted you guys to see how bright they are. They really work good. But I want to get this out of the way. So what we need to do is we need to pull this back more. There we go. So that I can just go directly onto the ground. But one thing I'm going to do is this cable here is what goes to the lights. So I'm going to cut this one open as well, because there's no point in putting an eyelet on 2 ground wires, or putting 2 eyelets on 2 ground wires when I can just put 1 eyelet on 2 ground wires. It just makes it less full on the ground stud. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the black for the negative, like so, and then I'm just going to take my 1/4 inch doohickey. That is a technical submarine term, I promise. So this ground wire is going to go with this ground wire, like so. Give them a little twist together. Then I'm going to put some shrink tube over both. This shrink tube is really nice because it's big enough, but it still shrinks down to the size, or it shrinks down to an individual wire, no problem. So I put that on there like so. Give her a little crimpy poo. That's another submarine technical term. You won't hear those terms anywhere except for a submarine shop. At least mine. Okay, now we're going to shrink tube that on because I shrink tube as I go. Just so I don't forget. Okay, so shrink that guy on there. You have to, you really should let the shrink tube cool down for a minute before you start working with it, because it's pretty soft and supple. You could loosen up the glue or something, I think. So I like to let it, if I can, let it sit for a moment. Okay, so now we need the ground, which is right here, and that is 7/16, not 10. Okay. I love these things. We did not have this when I was growing up. Boy, I use it for everything. I fix my truck, I fix everything with that thing. See, it's getting a little crowded. That's why I want to double up on this. Could have actually tripled up on it, one for the scrubber as well, but we won't get greedy. So put that on there. Tighten it up. I'm going to tighten it up even though I have to take it off again. Just because I might go do something else for some weird reason and forget about it. So now, that is going out. So that is fine. That is coming in. So now I just need the red to connect to, the other side of that switch, which is already there for this pump. My installation in the back, whoa, boy, did that ever work out nice. I found a piece of pipe, the exact length I need, threaded on both ends. I put a 90-degree elbow on it with a short nipple. Then I put a 3/4 inch rubber hose on the nipple. Oh no, sorry. I screwed a brass check valve to it. I didn't think these pumps would pump through that check valve, but it pumps through it just fine. I thought there might be too much resistance, but it worked perfect. So I've got a check valve back there, threaded right into the pipe system, and then a hose to the pump. Beautiful. And then I made a little bracket to clamp to the hose so it's all solid, won't slide around. Couldn't be happier. Look, what was I doing? Oh yeah. So now I need my little eyelet Dewey shrink tube. I thought I had, I already put a shrink tube piece on. So we'll crimp that guy. It's nice and cool in here now. See, this end of the shop is cooler because my big door to come into this. So my wife has an electric door for her car at that end of the shop, and I have a door at this end which only opens in the spring and in the fall. And that's to bring a winter project in and out. So it's just a swinging door, and it's cooler at this end. It's not as super efficient down here. And your wood stove's in the middle, and it's +3 this morning Celsius, so I kind of got it too hot in the shop. Okay. I know I sound like a broken record, but I love shrink tubes. Everything I do has shrink tube on it. Okay, so now we're going to take that switch out, put that on, and that is in business. I don't have this fully secured on here because it has to come on and off so many times. So you see, I just loosened the bolts so it can slip out a bit. You can probably hear some road traffic out on the highway because I got my door open trying to cool the shop down. So now I'm gonna get this tape off of here that I put on unceremoniously. There we go. That works really good. When it's hard to take off, you know that it's working like you want it to. Okay. So, switch goes this way. That way turns on that pump. So this way turns on this pump, the other pump. So all right, here we go. I got another switch here for the lights, but it's kind of a weird switch, so I had to bring my own meters so I can investigate how it functions. Okay, so this can be a trick sometimes. Put that in there. Okay, so that's front pump, back pump, front, back. Perfect. Well, that was easy. So what I do with my tape, here it is. So that takes care of bilge pumps. I'm pretty pleased about that because I was agonizing how I was going to accomplish that. So I'm pleased with the whole setup. That's what's important. You have to be happy with it. Nobody else has to be happy with it, just me. My tape lost its... I bought this tape on Amazon. It's not bad, but could be better. Okay, so now let's put that guy back in. Back where he belongs. Another one. Okay. I hope my wrench is big enough. Okay, so now I got this switch here. It's just an on-off, but you see it's got like a double polarity setup. So we're just going to do a quick check with the ohm meter, and that'll tell us the story. So normally you go to the center of the switch and then one end. Okay, not there. Not there. What the heck? Okay, let's try turning it this way. This switch does not work at all. Unless it goes from one side to the other. Let's try that. Nope. Well, isn't that weird? Okay, I think the switch is a dud. Let's try this one. Isn't that weird? There we go. Okay, so that switch is working like they normally do. But, oh, hang on. I got another one here that looks newer. I think I'll use this newer one. Okay, but I need a nut for it. Let's make sure we got a nut. I'm repurposing all these switches. Okay, so we're set. So all we got to do is we got to drill ourselves a hole. So we need to drill. Pilot hole. I always do a pilot hole, just makes it easier. Okay, make sure there's no wires to hit. Okay. Put that away. So lose it. I'm learning that putting your tools away is faster and more efficient than having them scattered everywhere and searching for them, even though it takes time to put them away. Okay. Now we'll clean that up with this little guy. All right. So now we're ready to accept the switch. But we need a power lead. So this guy here, we're going to put an eyelet on here. We've already got our ground. Put an eyelet on here. Some shrink tube. This is not very glamorous work, but it all needs to be done. And it's pretty cozy in here, and I'm not working out in the cold. It would be nice if I had should have put a plank across here that I could sit on. It's getting a little crampy. Oh well. Okay, so we need an eyelet on here. Like so. Okay. I actually edit out some I use the word edit loosely because all I'm doing is I don't have the ability to edit, like take stuff and add and all that and splice. And all I do is I start a video, start to finish, and then I just take out the boring stuff. So like if I'm drilling a hole and it takes 5 minutes to drill a hole, I'll just shorten it down to a few seconds or a second or two. So that's the extent of my editing, for lack of a better term, abilities. Okay. When I started with the whole YouTube channel, my son was editing and he's great. He's way smarter than me. Okay, so while that cools down, we need to make a power jumper to go from here to here. Okay, so I actually have this wire here I can use. Really doesn't matter. Okay. I think I'm going to use this. I don't want to use a black wire as a power just because it's, you know, when you work on it later, you don't remember what you did. You should try to have your brightest color as your positives. So, eyelet on there. Actually, I need two. Shrink tube on there. Crimp that guy. Yes, now let's see. So I don't know which of these two is positive and which is negative, so I just have to put the wires on, try it, because I put a high use plug on and you can't tell which is which, but it doesn't matter. If you hook it up backwards, it doesn't hurt a thing. Like, it's not like it shorts out or anything. I know that because I tried it. I tested it yesterday and had it backwards. Crimp that guy. I'm definitely going to have a seed in here next time. The only thing is, there's not much left to do. So in typical fashion, I get it right as I'm finishing. Okay. Should have asked my wife to buy me a lighter today. Just left for town. Okay, so I put the wrong end on it. Dang. See when I'm talking away? I need a, oh no, I am so stupid. It is the right end. No, it's not. It is the wrong end. I need this guy here. Okay, well, that's no problem. I forgot that I need the 1/4-inch stud end. I'm getting really uncomfortable sitting here like this. I want to show you guys these lights because they're pretty cool. So I'm going to get to that stage at least before I call it quits. Okay. It's getting hot in here too with that fan off. Wow. I'll tell you, submarines have a real problem with being hot when they're sitting at the surface. Forget about a diesel engine, just the submarine itself. It gets hot sitting on the surface. So I always had one of those bilge pump blowers, and I would always install them so they blow right at you, and then it's fine. Imagine you have to wear a hat inside your submarine on a sunny day because the window in the hatch blasts the hot sun right on your head. Unless you can cover that window somehow. And you really want to have a window in your hatch. Because when you're on the bottom of the lake, you're coming up, you can see boat traffic. But what's really cool is you can hear boat traffic. Whoa. When I first started diving submarines, I was getting pretty scared at times because a boat is coming and you think it's like right there. Like you think, oh man, I can't surface because I'm going to hit that boat. And you wait and you wait and you wait. So you finally surface and you look out, it's a half a mile away. It's unbelievable how sound travels underwater. Okay, so now we're looking for positive power. Okay, so I'm going to take that from here. That is really filling up. I might do something about that. I don't think it matters. It's just a matter of at what point it becomes difficult to work on. Forgot to reverse the drill. I mean this screw gun. Here we go. There we go. Now that wire. Those two go on here. All right, so now this is my power feed, so I put that in the center of the switch. Okay. Okay. That twist is going to fight me. Okay. Okay. I've got like really big hands, and so sometimes it's a problem. The heck was that? A ghost in my shop. Come on. There we go. There we go. Now we need the wire that goes to the lights. That is right here. I'm not going to put that switch in until the system is working, just to make sure it's all good. Okay, so there we have light switch. Now, just got to strip this end off. So this cable has 7 conductors in it. So I have 4 conductors going through this electric penetrator that I made. So it's going to have 2 for the forward lights, the underwater lights, not the above on the surface lights. These are the underwater lights. Okay. Go there, and the black wire. So the other two I was going to use for positioning thruster. So depending on what size of thruster I use, I don't know if I can just put like two wires. I'm not sure if that'll handle the current. So it probably will if I just use a 30-pound thruster. You don't need much. Okay, so I've got these little joiners here. I'll put the okay. So then this here, I'm just doing a test here. Oh, that's good. And then, oh bugger. Oh bugger. Come on. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to wrap the wires around there just to test it. Because doing two at once is a little hard. So, just going to put that there. Try the switch. There we go. So there they are. So these things work so fantastic you wouldn't believe it. I couldn't be happier with these darn things. You can hit them, drop them, bounce them, nothing hurts them. So I'm just going to mount those on the underside of my forward ballast tank, and I think I'm going to run them in line with the hull so there's less water flow resistance, and there will be one on each side, so when you're looking out the window it'll be really nice and bright at whatever you're looking at. Now this submarine only is going to dive 100 feet, but at 100 feet you definitely need lights. But I think typically, to 60 feet you can see pretty darn good. Well, geez, even at 60 feet in White Swan Lake is pretty dark. Yeah, I'm talking nonsense. It needs lights. So anyways, there we are. So I'm going to crimp these guys up. I'll just turn that off. I'm going to put some shrink tube on, then I'll put the crimps on. And then I'm going to get out of here and stretch my legs. Okay. Ciao, guys.